What if I told you that one rifle shaped the American frontier more than any politician, general, or gold rush ever could? The Winchester Model 1890 for chambered-in .44 to 40 Winchester wasn't just a firearm, it was the tool that built a nation. And today, we're diving deep into why this lever action became the most successful sporting rifle in American history. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm here to take you through the fascinating story of a rifle that sold over 7 million units and earned the nickname the gun that won the West. Whether you're a firearms enthusiast, history buff, or just curious about American heritage, this three-part series will reveal secrets about the Winchester 94 that most people never knew existed. Let's start with the historical context that made this rifle absolutely necessary. Picture this: it's 1894. And America is experiencing rapid westward expansion. The frontier is still dangerous, wild game is abundant, and settlers need a reliable, fast-firing rifle that can handle both hunting and protection duties. The single-shot rifles of the era were simply too slow, and the early repeaters were either too expensive, too complicated, or chambered in weak cartridges. This is where John Moses Browning enters our story. By 1894, Browning had already established himself as a genius inventor, but he was about to create his masterpiece. Working with Winchester Repeating Arms Company, Browning designed a lever-action mechanism that was stronger, smoother, and more reliable than anything that came before. But here's what made it revolutionary. The Model 1894 was specifically designed around smokeless powder cartridges, making it the first Winchester lever-action built for the modern era. The .44 to 40 Winchester cartridge, also known as the .44 WCF Winchester centerfire, had already proven itself since 1873, originally developed for the Winchester Model 1873. This cartridge fired a 200-grain bullet at about 1,300 feet per second, decent power for both hunting deer-sized game and personal protection. But what made the .44 to 40 truly special was its versatility. The same cartridge that fed your rifle could also be used in your Colt single-action army revolver, meaning frontier settlers only needed to carry one type of ammunition. When Browning's Model 1894 design was paired with the proven .44 to 40 cartridge, something magical happened. The rifle became incredibly popular among ranchers, hunters, lawmen, and even outlaws. The combination offered rapid follow-up shots, reasonable accuracy out to 200 yards, and enough stopping power for most North American game animals. But here's where the story gets interesting, and this is something most people don't realize. The Model 1894 wasn't just successful because of its mechanical excellence. Winchester's marketing strategy was revolutionary for its time. They specifically targeted cowboys, ranchers, and frontiersmen through advertisements in agricultural magazines and Western newspapers. The company even created special presentation models for famous figures like Theodore Roosevelt and Buffalo Bill Cody. The manufacturing process itself was a marvel of American industrial ingenuity. Winchester's New Haven factory employed advanced machining techniques that allowed them to produce high-quality rifles at relatively affordable prices. Each rifle was hand-fitted and tested, ensuring that when you bought a Winchester 94, you were getting a lifetime companion. The attention to detail was extraordinary, from the smooth action cycling to the precise headspace measurements. By 1900, just 6 years after its introduction, the Model 1894 had become the best-selling sporting rifle in America. But this success came with an unexpected consequence that would shape American history in ways John Browning never imagined. The rifle became so associated with the American spirit that it transcended its role as a mere tool and became a symbol of independence, self-reliance, and frontier courage. What makes this story even more compelling is how the .44 to 40 cartridge influenced the development of the American West, because the same ammunition worked in both rifles and revolvers. Entire communities could standardize on this cartridge, making supply logistics much simpler for general stores and trading posts. This practical consideration actually accelerated westward expansion by reducing the complexity of ammunition procurement in remote areas. So, what do you think made the Winchester Model 1894 so successful? Was it Browning's mechanical genius, the versatile .44 to 40 cartridge, or Winchester's savvy marketing? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Now that you understand the historical context, let's dive into the technical brilliance that made the Winchester Model 1894 a mechanical masterpiece. But here's something that might surprise you. Despite being over 130 years old, the basic design principles of this rifle are still considered so perfect that they barely changed in modern lever actions. The heart of the Model 1894 is John Browning's ingenious locking system. Unlike earlier Winchester lever actions that used a toggle link mechanism, the 94 employed a solid breech block that locked directly into the receiver. When you cycle the lever, two locking blocks come outward into recesses in the receiver walls, creating an incredibly strong lockup. This system was so robust that it could easily handle the higher pressures of smokeless powder cartridges, something that earlier designs simply couldn't do safely. Let's break down the action step by step. When you work the lever downward, several things happen simultaneously. The locking blocks retract, the breech block drops, the cartridge lifts from the magazine, and the spent case extracts. The timing of these operations is absolutely critical. And Browning's design achieved perfect synchronization through purely mechanical means, no springs or complex timing devices required. The barrel of the Model 1894 was a work of art in itself. Winchester used a deep hole drilling process followed by reaming to create the bore, then cut the rifling using a single-point cutting tool. The standard barrel length was 26 inches for the full-size rifle, though shorter carbine versions with 20-inch barrels became extremely popular. The rifling twist rate for the .44 to 40 was 1 inch minus 36 inches. Optimized for the 200-grain bullets typical of that cartridge, one often overlooked aspect of the 94's design is its magazine system. The tubular magazine holds 13 rounds of .4 for to 40 ammunition, fed by a spring-loaded follower. But here's the clever part, the magazine tube doesn't extend all the way to the muzzle. Instead, it stops about 6 inches short, with a magazine cap that can be removed for cleaning. This design prevented the magazine from affecting barrel harmonics while still providing substantial firepower. The trigger mechanism deserves special mention. Unlike modern rifles with their separate trigger groups, the 94's trigger, sear, and hammer are all integrated into the receiver. The trigger pull weight typically ranged from 4 to 6 pounds, with a crisp break that contemporary shooters praised for its consistency. The hammer is rebounding, meaning it automatically pulls back slightly after firing, providing an additional safety margin. Let's talk about the stock design, because this is where Winchester really showed their understanding of ergonomics decades before that word was even invented. The straight grip stock might look old-fashioned to modern eyes, but it was perfectly designed for rapid lever manipulation. The length of pull averaged 13 inches, ideal for shooters wearing heavy coats or working from horseback. The buttstock was typically made from American black walnut, oil finished to resist moisture and wear. The sighting system was remarkably advanced for its era. The standard rear sight was a semi-buckhorn design with a sliding elevator that could be adjusted for different ranges. Graduations typically went from 100 yards out to 500 yards. Though practical accuracy with iron sights and .44 to 40 ammunition was really limited to about 200 yards for most shooters. The front sight was a brass bead, chosen for its visibility in low light conditions common during dawn and dusk hunting. Now, here's something that sets the 94 apart from its contemporaries: the safety features. While many people think of old rifles as being unsafe, the Model 1894 actually incorporated several safety mechanisms. The hammer has a half-cock notch that acts as a safety, and the action won't close unless the cartridge is properly seated. Additionally, the firing pin is rebounding, so it can't maintain contact with the primer after firing. Weight was another crucial consideration. A typical Model 1894 rifle in .44 to 40 weighs about 6.5 pounds, light enough for all-day carry, but heavy enough to provide stability for accurate shooting. This weight distribution was carefully calculated to balance between the hands, making the rifle naturally pointable and reducing fatigue during extended use. The finish quality on original Model 1894s was exceptional. The metal parts received a deep blue-black finish that was both attractive and protective. The receivers were color case hardened, creating those distinctive swirled patterns that made each rifle unique. This wasn't just cosmetic. The case hardening process created a wear-resistant surface that helped the rifle maintain its smooth operation over decades of use. But here's what really set the Winchester 94 apart from competitors like the Marlin Model 1893 or the Colt Burgess rifle: the sheer smoothness of operation. Experienced shooters could work the lever of a well-maintained 94 almost without conscious thought, keeping their eyes on the target while cycling fresh rounds. This speed advantage was crucial in hunting situations where quick follow-up shots meant the difference between success and going home. Empty-handed. What aspect of the Winchester 94's engineering impresses you most? The robust locking system, the smooth lever action, or maybe the thoughtful ergonomics? Let me know in the comments. Here's something that will blow your mind. Despite being designed in 1894, Winchester continued producing the Model 1894 for over 100 years, making it the longest-running production rifle in American history. But there's a mystery surrounding these rifles that most collectors and historians have never fully solved, and involves a secret military contract that Winchester tried to hide. During World War I, the U.S. military desperately needed rifles for training purposes and homeland defense. While the primary infantry weapon was the M1903 Springfield, there simply weren't enough of them to go around. This is where our story takes an unexpected turn. In 1917, Winchester received a classified contract to produce Model 1894s in .30 to .30 Winchester for military use, but they also produced an unknown number in .44 to .40 for special operations. The .44 to .40 military models were supposedly intended for covert operations where the distinctive sound of a high-velocity rifle cartridge might give away an operative's position. The .4440 subsonic velocity and distinctive thump made it ideal for clandestine work. However, all records of this contract were classified, and many were reportedly destroyed after the war. Today, these military .44 to .40 Model 1894s are among the rarest and most valuable Winchester rifles. But identifying them requires expert knowledge because they often lack obvious military markings. But let's step back and examine the broader legacy of the Model 1894. By the time Winchester ceased production in 2006, over 7 million units had been manufactured, making it the most successful sporting rifle in history. Think about that number for a moment: 7 million rifles. That's more than the population of several U.S. states, and each one represents a piece of American heritage. The cultural impact extends far beyond mere numbers. The Winchester 94 appeared in countless Western movies, from John Wayne classics to modern films. It became so synonymous with the American frontier that Hollywood prop masters often used them even when depicting earlier time periods, simply because audiences expected to see that distinctive profile. This cultural presence helped cement the rifle's place in American mythology. From a collector's standpoint, Model 1894s present fascinating variations. Early rifles from 1894 to 1898 are particularly sought after because they feature case-hardened receivers and higher quality wood. The transition to smokeless powder brought subtle but important changes to the metallurgy and heat treatment processes. Rifles manufactured during different eras can be identified by small details, screw configurations, safety features, and marking styles all evolved over the century-long production run. Here's another interesting mystery. Winchester's serial number records for the Model 1894 are incomplete, particularly for rifles manufactured between 1904 and 1907. Some researchers believe this gap isn't accidental. It might have been intentional, to conceal production numbers from competitors, or to hide special government contracts. Whatever the reason, this missing data makes precise dating of certain rifles extremely difficult. The cartridge itself, the .44 to .40 Winchester, deserves recognition as one of America's most successful ammunition designs. Introduced in 1873, it remained in continuous production for over 140 years, while it's been largely superseded by more modern cartridges for hunting. The .44 to .40 is still loaded by major ammunition manufacturers today, testament to its enduring popularity among cowboy action shooters and collectors. Modern ammunition technology has actually improved the .4440's performance significantly. While original black powder loads pushed a 200-grain bullet at about 1,300 FPS, modern smokeless loads can safely achieve 1,400 to 1,500 FPS in strong rifles like the Model 1894. This makes the cartridge quite effective for deer hunting at reasonable ranges, contradicting the common belief that it's merely a cowboy round. The Winchester Model 1894's influence on subsequent rifle designs cannot be overstated. The basic locking system developed by Browning was so successful that it's still used in modern lever actions from manufacturers like Marlin and Henry. The ergonomics, balance, and handling characteristics establish the template that lever action rifles still follow today. For today's shooters, original Winchester Model 1894s in .44 to 40 represent something special. They connect us directly to American history, to the frontier era, to the golden age of American manufacturing, and to a time when a rifle was expected to last multiple generations. Many of these rifles are still perfectly functional after more than a century of use, testament to the quality of materials and craftsmanship that went into their creation. The investment potential is also noteworthy. While common Model 1894s remain relatively affordable, rare variations command substantial prices. Pre-1898 rifles, especially those with special features or provenance, can sell for several times the price of common examples. The mysterious military contract rifles, if authenticated, can bring five-figure sums at auction. But beyond collectability and investment potential, these rifles represent something more intangible. They're a connection to American heritage. Every Winchester Model 1894 has stories to tell: hunting trips, family traditions, moments of protection and provision. They represent an era when quality mattered more than profit margins, when craftsmen took pride in their work, and when a rifle was built to last a lifetime. So here's the final mystery I want to leave you with. Given that Winchester produced over 7 million Model 1894s, and considering normal attrition over 130 years, how many do you think still exist today? Estimates vary wildly, from 2 million to 5 million. The truth is, nobody really knows, and that uncertainty adds to their mystique. What's your theory about those mysterious military contract rifles? Do you think they really existed, or is this just collector folklore? And have you ever had the chance to shoot an original Winchester 94 in .44 to 40? Share your experiences and theories in the comments. If you found this deep dive into American firearms history fascinating, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We're constantly uncovering the hidden stories behind iconic weapons, and trust me, you won't want to miss what we have coming next. From rare military prototypes to the secret development stories behind famous firearms, this channel is your gateway to the untold history of American arms manufacturing. Thanks for joining me on this journey through Winchester history. The Model 1894 in .44 to 40 isn't just a rifle, it's a piece of American DNA, and understanding its story helps us understand ourselves. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep that spirit of discovery alive.